In the sit-down, as the festive season draws closer, the Baithudi Mampane Foundation is embarking on efforts to bring a smile to pupils from rural community schools in Limpopo. The foundation will host its inaugural Walk With Us initiative, which seeks to put a pair of shoes on the future teachers and doctors of South Africa. 10,000 new school shoes will be donated to pupils from to about 5 schools in Limpopo. There are hopes to expand this initiative countrywide. Joining us now to tell us more about this initiative is Baithudi Mampane Foundation Chairman Thapelo Mampane. Very good morning to you. Welcome to Newz Africa.
Good morning, good morning. Thank you very much for having me.
Fantastic initiative. I mean, you want to put a smile on children's faces right towards the end of the year, which will mean a good start for the new year with the school shoes. Talk to us about this initiative.
This initiative became a very important factor in our foundation, especially after the establishment of our foundation, seeing the issues that were very present in our communities, especially in Chikanoshi, where I'm from. So the issue had always been we were waiting for somebody from the outside to come bring development into our area. And part of the problem was I was actually part of the people waiting for a savior to come from outside and bring this development in. And so we took it upon ourselves, or I took it upon myself and my family, along with other stakeholders, to establish this foundation. And the School Shoes Initiative was the first project that we wanted to present to the community as an introduction to the work that we are here to do. We wanted to start with something that is feasible, something that is small and that they can understand, and so that when we present the bigger projects for the future, then they'll receive them better. Okay,
we'll talk about the bigger projects just now.
Yes, ma'am.
How are you doing this, getting these shoes, and how are you selecting which schools and the rollout?
The first thing that we started with was obviously establishing the schools. I'm originally from Chikanoshi village in Ephraim Mohale district. So we located schools within the Ephraim Mohale district that we thought were in dire need of our assistance. But then we went out to seek assistance, us being a foundation. We were fortunate enough to rope in a few corporate sponsors, including Premier FMCG and their Blue Ribbon brand, BMW ZA Hub, along with Shosholoza Group. So we've through our collaboration, through our stakeholders, been able to source the shoes and get the contributions and the funds to be able to get these shoes for the kids.
Why shoes?
Like I said, we always want to do the big things first, neglecting the small things. I'm from a family of educators. So I've always been around a space where students in schools, I've always been around that space. And being from a rural area, every time you go home, you see these kids walking long distances. I myself never really, I wouldn't say I walked long distances with bare feet. I was one of the fortunate ones. But there are many other kids in our area, and even in other rural areas similar to ours, that are still going through that thing. So we started with this initiative to say, let's first address what is actually a need in our community before we even expand on all of these other amazing programs. Let's start with what is actually an actual need for these kids. And so the shoes were a non-brainer.
Some of these other amazing projects that you want to access, I mean, what do those look like? Especially looking at the major challenges in villages: access to food, access to water, access to books, being some of the other extremely important challenges. What are you looking at?
The biggest thing was for us is we are trying to act as a bridge between our rural communities and access to urban markets and so forth. So what we've planned to do is we are planning to bring our ESD programs and training and skills development programs to the rural areas. Initially, or usually how it happens is these things happen in the more urban or westernized areas, like our cities and our townships. But in our rural villages, there's no district office where you'll find the Small Enterprise Development Agency or the Innovation Hub, for instance. So we don't have access to those things. We don't have access to job opportunities. So what we've then decided to do is, through our stakeholders and through our partners, we've come up with programs that we are going to be hosted within the rural areas themselves to give access to all of these people. So we are bringing resource from outside and then bringing it into our areas. So instead of now saying let's ship our people to the city, let's bring the city to our people. And that has been our approach. to give access to the people and local economy. Because looking at now, like you said, we're in an era where, having one stream of income is not enough.
Yeah.
And we have to address issues such as unemployment. And part of our skills development and entrepreneurial training programs are designed to address particularly that, which is the unemployment. So because we can't create jobs in the sense of making many companies and just employing people for the sake of employing people, we'd rather than equip them with skills. So instead of giving somebody fish, teach them how to fish.
Yeah.
So that's our approach.
Okay. Skills development, I would imagine that a lot of it has to do with the youth, which really remains very disadvantaged when it comes to accessing jobs, creating employment. What sort of skills are you also looking at getting out of the village and the rural areas? I mean, there's a lot of fashion and interior design trends which have come from rural villages.
No, 100%. I mean, our foundation is mainly focused on rural youth development. And I think that looking at what is already happening, especially living in a STEM-orientated culture where it's science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. As soon as you mention science, technology, engineering, and mathematics in rural areas, you scare people off. But our approach is a very practical one to that. Say, for instance, as somebody who builds a house in the rural areas, it takes a lot of skill, it takes a lot of science, engineering, mathematics, and all of those things to build a house. So we are trying now that, especially like with our other programs, the cooperatives that make bricks. So instead of now getting brick forming machines that are manual, we automate the process or introduce technology that does that for them. So these are the approaches that we are trying to implement within our programs within the rural area. So STEM is number one, obviously being living in a technology age where we're focusing on the youth. And then we obviously engage with other factors such as the arts and culture. So we're very strong because there's a lot of musicians, there's a lot of dancers and craftspeople from our rural areas. So we also strive to create a platform for them to showcase their works. And also by doing that is, like I said, we always strive to be a bridge between the rural and the market. So what we do is we would if, say, for instance, somebody's in the arts and craft, right? We would get some of their work and expose them to exhibitions within some of our urban partners and things like that. So we go about it in a different way when looking at particularly the economic activities that are happening in the rural areas. The majority of it in the rural is poultry projects, water projects. So we look at things like that, and we also try to introduce other creative ways of doing or expanding on the entrepreneurial skills and activities. So we try to cover almost all bases when coming to address the issue of entrepreneurship among our rural youth. Yeah.
So how has the community received this? I mean, it really perhaps a glimmer of hope?
Yeah, no, 100%. Collaboration is key in everything we do. And everywhere, us being a rural-based foundation and being a foundation that works mainly with the youth that is previously disadvantaged, it's important for us to engage with the rural leadership, firstly. And obviously now on this project, the Walk With Our School Shoes initiative, we had to firstly engage with the local district office, to firstly engage with our headmasters to be able to get access to the kids, number one. Because as much as doing good is something that we think comes automatic, but some people don't actually like charity. So you have to be sensitive to things like that. So obviously, definitely, collaboration is key when coming to working with communities. Definitely 100% key. So we always make sure that we engage with the local community leadership, and we always address the actual issues pertaining to the issues in that particular community. So we don't have a one-size-fits-all to address each community. So we look at the issues that are dire in that particular community and address them accordingly.
Thapelo, thank you very much.
Wishing
you all the best. Baithudi Mampane Foundation Chairman Thapelo Mampane there, speaking about some of the fantastic initiatives that are lined up, especially the Walk With Us initiative aimed at finding over 10,000 new pairs of school shoes for children in those communities.